Hey guys, what's up? Lee here for Card Games United. Just thought I'd try something a little different, do a nice quick deck profile. So I'm doing my Dark Regular Darkness build today. Thought I'd start out with the strides here. He got 4 copies Bladermouse, 4 copies One Who Hunts Souls Balam, and then these 3 random guys who you don't really go into that often. Really, Balam's the heart and soul of the deck right now, with Bladermouse sort of being like your second choice. Also really helping you escape that situation where you're about to deck out. Balam's the really important dude. What he does is Counterblast 1, G-Flip, pop a dude, gets that amount, gets the same power as the dude he popped, and then quadruple drive. And at GB3, if you're in Darkness and have 13 or more in Soul, your opponent can't guard with Great Ones for the whole turn. It's amazing. This guy's really aggressive, really makes the deck very potent. Bladermouse, if you don't know what he does, is Counterblast 1 if you're in Darkness, G-Flip, slip 2 cards from hand into Soul, then shuffle all grade 0s from Soul and Field back into deck. Just stacks your deck full of triggers. Oh, and then he restands and gives 2 things 5k. The effects just don't stop on him. Yeah, really amazing. Stops you from decking out. Very potent attacker in his own right as well. Then this dude's a field nuke. Don't use him that often. This dude, Soul Charge 3, give 5k for every different 2A card for every different grade Soul Charged. And then if you Soul Charge Darkness, slip grade 3 from Soul into hand. Really, you just go into him if they don't have something to pop with Balam, because Balam just getting off the quadruple drive on first stride is still pretty good. But if they don't have field, you might as well just do this and just grab yourself grade 3 for next turn. And then this guy, I don't think I've gone into in years, but he is completely free, Soul Charges 2, and if he hits, retire 1, and yeah, I don't think I've gone into him in years. Has he been out for years? I'm not sure. Anyway, so those are the strides in this deck. Here are the G-Guards we've got in this deck. You got Vincent, Drojnasu, Agrot Botmalat, and Saint Germain. Really, most of the time you go into this dude, what he does is G-Flip 1 at GB1, Soul Charge 1, and then he gets 5k for every 5 cards in Soul. Really big shield, 1 Soul Charge just cause. Agrot Botmalat is usually what you go into if you're not at GB1 yet. She just slips 2 into Soul, and if you're at 6 or more in Soul, 20k shield. Cheap, easy. Both of these just do the same thing, sort of allow you a little extra Soul Charge and then just shield. Drojnasu, if you have 8 or more in Soul, gets 10k shield. Again, cheap, easy. And then she can slip a grade 1 into Soul and draw a card. Grade 1 with Darkness, I believe? Yes, grade 1 or greater with Darkness. Yeah, so that can help you cycle. It can help you clear off your field if you know it's all going to go away or something. Saint Germain, what he does is, if you have 10 or more in Soul, gets 10k shield. Cheap and easy, but not as cheap and easy as her. If you have 15 or more in Soul, he can give any number of your units resist. He's just in here for that occasional matchup like Dimensional Robos, where just having him in the deck means you don't lose. So, nice to keep around. Usually end up flipping him over with that in most matchups. Now for the grade 3s, we've got 4 copies of One Who Proceeds to Daybreak, Scharhrot. On stride, Soul Charge 2, choose up to 1 from Soul, put it into hand with Darkness ability. And then you can choose a card from hand, put it into Soul. Really awesome, just gets you like a super consistent draw, because you can just grab anything from Soul and choose to put nothing from your hand back in. So, super consistent, free draw, very good. Then he has the second ability, Darkness, slip a grade 1 or greater into your Soul. Your opponent chooses one of their rear guards, retires it, and you can unflip 1 if you're at 8 or more in Soul. There are some interesting combos with that. Also gets constant unflips and a little bit of retire on top. Like, this guy's just your your super, like, pocket knife, jackknife dude. He just does whatever you need him to in any situation. Then we got 4 copies of One Who Scatters in Scharhrot. You'll notice I'm not doing the Japanese thing and playing like 1 or 2 copies of, I was going to say Grusan, it's not Grusan, it's Gastile, of Gastile. Because I feel like this guy just does sort of the same thing Gastile's intended to do, but more consistently. And yeah, I get Gastile can go up to like, 31 power, but that's so inconsistent, and I have to forego taking my Balefuls out of Soul for that. I'd just rather have the straight 4 and 4, and he's not a bad ride option either, because he Soul Charges 2 on stride, and then pops 1 if you have 4 or more Darkness and Soul, which you will. And if you need a reminder, its Darkness ability at GB2 is, if you have 10 or more in Soul, gets 5k, and your opponent can't guard with grade 0s. Really good, especially in combo with that Balam. Just having him on rearguard swing, your opponent can only guard with G-guards or grade 2s. So especially if he's got a booster, it's really hard to block him. Next we got our grade 2s. You got 4 copies of Baleful. Darkness, 8 cards in Soul, gets 10k, and your opponent can't guard with grade 0s. Same deal as the grade 3, just automatically with Belam. Huge combo turn. Then you got Brennan Vampire, who counterblasts 1, GB1, gets 1k for every card in your Soul, and at a battle it slips into Soul and you draw a card. He's nice, he can potentially swing for big numbers, or he can just, draw you a card, which sometimes you might need to live through the following turn. Again, he can be big, so also good in combination with Balam. Not as amazing in this current version of the deck as he has been previously, but he's okay. Then you got Succubus of Jealousy. There's a lot of Succubuses. So Succubus of Jealousy, look at top 5, choose up to 2 Darkness, put them into Soul, and then Darkness gets 2k. Really nice, gets you some consistent Soul Charge. This deck is really good about just like taking everything that's not a trigger out of the deck and shoving it into Soul. And she just helps with that, and she's just like a free Soul Charge too. Like, she's great. End of sentence. So next we have our grade 1 lineup. You've got essentially 6 stride fodder, 4 of them being Jaeger. If you don't know what Jaeger does, counterblast 1, Darkness, when he's in Soul, you can discard a card to pick him up out of Soul, and then Soul Charge a card. And also, counterblast 1, when he's put into Soul by cost or effect during your turn, draw a card. That draw card is really amazing, especially with Until Dawn Scharhrot. It just makes it, like another free draw every turn, and just pop 1. Really good. You can fetch him out of Soul. Also is a Darkness, that's why you play more of him than of her. Well, the draw effect is why you play 4 of him. Just period. But you also play the old school version where you can just tutor out into your Until Dawn Scharhrot, or if you're on Until Dawn, you can toss 1 of him to grab a rearguard attacking Scharhrot. Not bad, kind of useful. Really just in there to guarantee stride consistency though. Then you got 4 copies of Were-Tiger Plunder. GB1, Darkness, actually, not even GB1. Interesting. During your turn, if you have a Scharhrot Vanguard, gets 1k for every card in Soul if you're in Darkness. Really big booster, great to stack behind those Balefuls, great to stack behind those Scattersins. Then we got 4 Closet Balloon, and some people are skeptical of this because they'd rather have Succubus Favris or Imprisoned Fallen Angel, who can tutor themselves out of Soul or out of Drop Zone. I like Closet Balloon. If you don't know what Closet Balloon does, is if he's in Soul and you PG with another copy of him and you have 10 or more cards in Soul, you draw a card. Really nice. Essentially, just those 1-card PGs are great. He also has a Darkness skill where he gets 2k, which is really just on there to give him the Darkness tag. I really like him. I'm not going to say you're wrong if you want to go for one of the other ones. They are also good. I just really like the consistency of just being able to PG with just 1 card. Really helps against some like big swing matchups where you really need to conserve resources, because Dark Regulars can still lack defense even with like a lot of this draw power and stuff that we got. It's just an aggressive deck that focuses more of its effort on setting things up than it does on, you know, being ready to defend. So I choose him. Gets me more defense, gets me some card draw. That's all I'm going to say. You can play whichever PG you like. Nothing is wrong in this situation. The other two are definitely still very good. I guess you could even go for Flag Breaker if you wanted, but he'd be like a little wrong, but not terribly wrong. So as far as grade zeros go, first thing you're going to notice is that I'm not playing Enigmatic Assassin. I don't like overloading my deck with grade zeros. I understand it's like a really aggressive, it's a sort of aggressive card. Let's be honest, a 20k swing isn't that amazing, even with Valam. Like, I get it, it's extra attacks. 20k is certainly not bad. Actually, I think it's like 25, which is still, you know, sort of in that area of like not bad, but also, yeah. I just prefer, you know, just going for straight line aggression, having my boosters, having my Balefulls and Scattersins in front of them, and just, you know, punching as hard as I can, rather than trying to sort of manipulate out these extra attacks, where if I wanted to be doing something like that, I'd just be playing a Nova Grappler deck. Yeah, again, I'm not gonna, you know, outright call it wrong, because I understand, like, it's a different playstyle. It's not what I'm going for with my build. A similar reason to why you're not seeing any monochrome of Nightmare Land here, who again, he offers like a lot of utilities. He can soul charge, return himself to deck, in exchange to draw another card, and unflip one. It's all just sort of this utility that I viewed as redundant, and just the stand trigger wasn't providing as many benefits as I wanted. Again, Belom makes stand triggers like a lot better, so I'm certainly not going to call it wrong. But I like just going for the straight line aggression. This deck is very good about breaking hands. It's very good about getting to a point where your opponent has to just look down and be like, well, I can't guard, so I'm not going to. And that's the situation where having the 12 crit really helps to seal the deal. So, obvious, we have one copy of the starter, Deranged Singular. Darkness, doesn't matter. Other skill is when your G unit strides, you move him and all your grade 1 or greater rearguards into the soul and draw 2 cards. You usually try and move your grade 2 or greaters off the board before you have to activate him, through like intercepts, or you just don't call him or whatever. I suppose you could counter that with, or combo that with Were Tiger Jaeger, because Were Tiger Jaeger is amazing. Yeah, so I guess that is a move. Usually I just try and have him in my Vanguard and just slip him into the soul for 2 free draws. 2 free draws are amazing. The deck can have a lot of trouble if the other deck has ways to snipe him. Really good starter. Didn't think he was going to be, ended up being. We have 2 copies of the Fighter Collection G-Guard for Vincent, because he moves into Soul, whereas she just binds herself. So the reason that's important is because of Bledermaus putting all the grade 0s from your Soul back into deck. He would go back into deck, versus she would be sitting in the drop zone or the bind zone and wouldn't go back to deck. Again, you can make the argument that like maybe you want to put more crits back in deck rather than heals, but I find just having the number of cards in your deck is helpful. 2 of the Amon's Follower, Abysmalus, just because sometimes the unflip is helpful. 4 copies, Dark Knight Nightmare Land, who can move himself into Soul, give something 3k. Quick, easy Darkness Activator. 4 copies of One-Eyed Succubus. On your Vanguard with Scharhrot's attack, you can move her into Soul, draw a card, give it 5k. Again, easy Darkness Activator. Also just sort of boosts and then cycles itself out. Nice card. Then you have something that I wasn't initially playing, but as I went through this deck build, I realized, so he effectively doesn't have a effect in this build, because his effect is all dependent upon having a Nightmare Land Vanguard. But if you look, if I can get the camera to focus enough on the text, oh god, that's gonna look horrible. Yeah, it's Act GB1 and then cost, put this unit into Soul. End of cost. So the way Vanguard rulings work is you can pay that cost and then the effect fails from there. So I put this in because it can activate darkness for you. So any of these triggers can activate darkness for you. So I've been in the situation a lot where I'm in like I have like 1 or 2 cards left in deck, and so there's nothing I have that can soul charge that wouldn't deck me out. But if I could go into Bledermaus, I would have won. So while I was going through the deck profile, I had just generic vanilla 5k crits, and then I realized, wait, that cost can be paid, and I don't have to use the effect. There's a ruling about that. So I put that in, and it'll activate darkness. Also, in the match video, I played against Scharhrot. Andre called this out, boosted it with Renee, and then boosted it with boosted it with the frog. Didn't realize that made this a 26, because he assumed I just called down a 4k trigger. I still have the extra cards in my hand to guard if you go back and watch that match video, but there's another advantage. All the triggers being 4k means you can drop them, and the most that combo will boost to is 25, so 10 and a 5 instead of 2 10s. Oh, by the way, check out these sleeves. They're awesome. So I'll leave you on that with my main man, Anishi right here, just being like, hey, what's up? Hope you like the deck profile. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that, whatever you gotta do. Don't walk out into the snow without a jacket on.